after a power-packed inaugural session, we get into our first topic, which is building the smart spaces for intelligent operations and warehouse. This is mainly focusing on how do we step back and think through the three things. One is manage the inventory errors and accuracies. Second is how we can actually handle the labor part, which is the manpower productivity, labor shortages. And third is element is how do you manage space? How do you manage the consent in space? We're going to discuss about the automation part. We discuss about the IoT part, technology part, how we can look at it from a data-driven element. So that's what we're going to discuss in this particular session. I'll invite all the panel experts and probably give an introduction of the panel experts. We have Ranjan. Ranjan, thanks for joining us from the inaugural. So no introduction for you. Already we have heard a good speech from an agentic AI and cybersecurity part. So thanks for joining us for this session. Thanks, Ranjan. Welcome. We have Mr. Pratap Chavan, who is the head of EXIM at Jindal Stainless, 25 years of experience in supply chain, almost leading the end-to-end logistics supply chain transformations and also focus on automation. He actually worked in various companies, Trident Group, Aditya Birla, Landmark, multi-product experience, agro commodities, FMCG, textiles, and so on and so forth. Mr. Pratap, thanks a lot for coming along. Thanks for joining us in this session. Welcome. We have Mr. Ram Bhudoria, who is a GM of Engineering and Projects South Asia at Unilever. 35 years of experience in the industry. He almost with the Unilever for almost 22 years, both India and Bangladesh. He also worked in Chambal Fertilizers and Chemical Limited. So, Mr. Ram, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to hear your experience, how the user industry is leveraging the smart spaces. Thanks, Ram. We have Mr. Dithiman Chakraborty, who is a Director Operations of Ingram Micro. 24 years of experience, worked with Merck Life Sciences, Sigma, Aldrich, Cadila Pharmaceuticals, and he also has expertise in driving operational excellence, optimizing logistics, and building agile, tech-driven supply chains that fuel business growth. Thanks, Mr. Dithiman. Thanks a lot for joining. We have Mr. Umesh Madhyan, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Leap India. 17 years of experience in his leadership of warehousing. He has previously held key roles in Coca-Cola, Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages. He also worked in Kraft Heinz and L'Oreal, specializing in supply chain transformation, operational excellence, and innovative solutions. Thanks, Mr. Umesh. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward for a great panel discussion. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. As we discussed in the inaugural, how the space, I think Ms. Anshul actually talked about the smart spaces and how we are actually empowering ourselves into the smart spaces, right? Maybe I'll start with Ms. Anshul, Mr. Ranjan. Ranjan, you talked about the two things, right, in the inaugural session. One is on the AI part, the agentic AI part. I think we would love to hear more how the agentic AI is supporting in terms of the three things. One is the space itself, the inventory management and the space management. What is your experience in this agentic AI, how that is evolving, how one can start there? Because for agentic AI, data is important, right? We need to have a right data, we need to have a right IoT technology to be enabled. So where do we start, how do we start, and some experience on that would be helpful, Ranjan.
Yeah, thanks, Ganesh. I think you touched upon one of the most talked about topics for today. Agentic AI after generative AI, a lot of puzzle. A lot of people are getting different thoughts around what is agentic AI. मतलब एक और bot है, एक और agent आ गया, and it's difficult thing because the way how you look at it is the base or the core that you rightly said is the data. How good is your data? That's the groundwork that you have to do, because if you have to do any kind of a transformation which is around AI, data is the core that you have to build. Creating the right data platforms to be able to leverage that data in whatever sense and form, structured, unstructured data, whatever kind of data coming from different sources. IoT is one area. There could be image data, which is unstructured data. There could be a layout data, which could again be in a different structure. Or there could be data in terms of uh, bits and bytes and columnar data that you would bring in from different sources. How do you bring that data? How do you massage that data? How do you store that data is the core to start your journey on any kind of AI journey. I think that's the basic one has to do. But let's not get disheartened that it's going to become difficult for all of us to jump onto that journey, because you can start small. You don't need to bring in all the data together to be able to start making sense. So if you really want to solve a problem within the distribution center, maybe look at the warehouse data itself. Most of us have actually passed the stage where we were implementing WMS systems, and most of us generally have decent WMS systems, whichever make or shape that they are, and they produce good amount of data to be able to give you some sense out of it. There are other data points that we have in Excel sheets that we can again bring that data into the systems. Multiple areas that agentic AI is now solving. What is an agentic AI at the end of the day? It's an agent which is solving things for you. It's an agent which is unmanned agent. So the journey from a generative AI or for an agent is you start with a use case where you start building that use case in terms of saying what kind of data you need to solve that process. So classic example, inventory optimization or inventory management. Where is your inventory? When should you order more? When should you bring in that inventory to be able to deliver that upcoming trend or upcoming need or demand for that particular product? What you should order for? When you should order for? Whom you should order from? Which vendor? What timeline do you need to be able to order that? Earlier we were building huge replenishment systems, huge systems to be able to solve all of these problems. Today with agentic AI, this is continuously monitoring at all points of time in terms of the future trends, in terms of the future demands, and bringing it all together, and it can actually bring in multiple data points that we've not even thought of today. We are building ourselves some processes about agentic AI where we are trying to bring in and building this whole optimization model where we are trying to bring in data in terms of weather. Where should I send what merchandise? Maybe the weather condition in Chennai is not good enough at this point of time, which generally a merchandiser would know that you should not send a heavy jacket, but a light jacket is okay to send to Chennai. But now, this model will start predicting, saying, looking at the current weather conditions, for the next 2 weeks, you should not send jackets, even the lighter jackets, or even a full sleeve t-shirt. Send these kinds of patterns, these kinds of trends that's there. That's where agentic AI is playing a lot of role. We're crunching humongous amount of data, bringing that data together to start making sense, and giving an output and executing that task as well on behalf of people in an unattended manner is where the agentic AI is playing a role. Agentic AI can start playing a huge role in terms of quality controls. You have, like fashion, I'll give you a classic example. Fashion, we have about 45% returns from an e-commerce. That's a lot of work to do. That's massive work. I think in one of the things that Anshul was talking about, he ordered for 6 pieces from Amazon. You like 2 pieces and you returned back 4 pieces. God, thank you, man. That's really a terrible task for all of us. For a supply chain guy, you ask me, and that's something that I hate to do. But that's my life. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's my job. Because that's what we are solving for. There are customers who are going to send you back those 4 pieces. And imagine the scenario. It could be an used product as well. Somebody could have bought that product, used that product for a party that they would have gone to, and then come back and return. How do you track that? Humanly, being able to do a quality check across so much of, and we ship out almost about, from our one distribution center, we ship out almost about $10,000 a day from an e-commerce perspective on a normal day, on any given day. $10,000, which means 4,500 are going to come back. 4,500, if they come back, imagine how many people am I going to put, how much of infrastructure I'm going to deploy to be able to solve that problem, to do the quality check alone. That's one single problem, quality check. To add to that, then there is another problem. If it's a wrong product which has come in, imagine I have sent a Jack and Jones shirt and somebody has returned a Jack and Jones t-shirt or a Van Heusen t-shirt to me. I have to go back and claim that from whoever is the marketplace partner. If it's an Amazon, if it's a Myntra, then I need to go back and claim that in terms of saying, hey, this is not the right product, I need to be paid as a brand. That's again an additional process where I'm deploying manpower. Add this to the agentic AI, bring in the image of the product in terms of what quality parameters you need to check. Through vision technology, add vision technology to it, bring that data point to be able to analyze how it is going to be, how should the product look like. Is it your brand? Is it someone else's brand? If it's a wrong product, what to do? Go ahead, log on to the Myntra's portal, log on to Amazon's portal, raise a claim with whatever images and whatever are the parameters, because the parameters, their needs could be different for claims management. Look at all those parameters and be able to decide. Humanly, it is going to become difficult. Just giving you a classic couple of use cases. There are a number of use cases within the warehouse that you can actually solve for. In fact, our WMS systems have been smart enough to be able to do a right routing. But imagine the current situation when you are bringing in robots and when you are bringing in a lot of automated products within the distribution center. The speed at which you need to respond is becoming much more faster, and hence to be able to reduce his travel path, be able to give a targeted task to a picker within a particular zone, with, and be able to pick that very quickly and pack and ship that, the best possible route, agentic AI can again play a much, much larger role by bringing in all the different kinds of data, because that's where it is not just looking at the WMS data, but it is also looking at the other systems data and bringing that all together. So multiple use cases that we can foresee. We are already working on a couple of them, and I'm sure they definitely will deliver a huge benefit to us.
No, thanks, Nanjan. I think when we say we want to go to market in 10 minutes, I think in the backyard, I think there are a lot more work to be done. And as you mentioned about in terms of the written complexities, and I know the scalability when it goes high, and that's where I think this helps. I think that's very clear. And also the speed to market and faster is another key what you mentioned. I also was thinking in two dimensions. One is, how do you generate content? Can we generate content with a technology which is also critical? And then how do you extract insights? Exactly what you said, somebody used it or not. Can I extract insight with the AI? I think that actually makes sense from a labor, inventory, and all dimensions. So that's helpful, Ranjan. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Maybe with Umesh, I probably, one of my thought process always when we talk about space, right? Because one of the space is important constraint today. I've actually seen implementation of ASRS by myself, and I'll probably share a 30-second small story, right? This is one of the wire and cable company. They implemented the ASRS, and I asked the chairman, why you have done this? It's like a 5-7 years payback, and for you, is it needed, really needed, right? And the answer from the chairman is, yes, my pick to pack time compared to my competitors is like 4x, 5x lower, so I can actually take this to the market early, right? All the emergency requirements, urgent requirements, and take this market to the, in a much speedier way. So that was answer from the chairman, right? So from your viewpoint, how this ASRS, I know it's been there for 2 decades. I've seen this in Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, done 20 years back, right? How this has evolved now, how the landscape of this ASR has evolved, people talking about robotized, people talking about in terms of getting the value at stake, right? So maybe share your thoughts, how this is useful and how this is evolving the smart spaces concept. Maybe share your thoughts, Umesh.
Okay. Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. So basically, ASRS, I think, is to be seen a little bit more holistically. It's just not a space-saving, high-density storage solution. ASRS is a warehouse total system solution. It means an automatic storage and retrieval system. So there are 4 parts to it. One is the inbound or the in-feed, what we call, where we connect the production lines to come to the warehouse for storage. The other is, of course, the storage itself, the black box. Then you, of course, have a retrieval process, how you retrieve it and process the order, because you may not do a pallet in, pallet out. Because I strongly believe that a pallet in, pallet out problem at the manufacturing or the first source does not solve a lot of logistics problem. You eventually will have to serve the customer. So ASRS is good only if it is capable of serving a particular order by the customer rather than a depot or in a hub and spoke setting. So do order processing properly, maybe mix pallet making, you have a black, an orange, and a green, and a white, and wrap it up on a stretch wrap and move it in the truck. And of course, the last but not the least is how do you dispatch it out, which is outfeed. So these are the 4 overall end-to-end automations which ASRS actually facilitates or designs. Now, for this, there are a couple of problems which initially used to come, of course, which was cost. You yourself said that payback 5-6 years hai, but pick to pack time is fast. That means the payback is wrong. The payback is not only cost, it is also service, no?
Correct.
The payback is cost plus service. All put together, if your payback is less than 4, you should be sure you're doing something wrong. That's how you should look at it. This is the first myth, first error which people do while doing a payback. They don't look at it holistically. They say, I'm a logistics manager, I will look at logistics gains out of a particular logistics implementation. But that's not how it works. You do it for the customer. So even if there is a service increase, service improvement, responsiveness goes up, your reach is faster, that's a big gain. We made palletized transportation so unique that we made sense of a water bottle to go on the cheapest possible preform or plastic, because we were sure that nobody will touch it. We will get it palletized from the end of the line, loaded in the racks, loaded in the trucks palletized, unloaded palletized. The first space where it gets open is the shelf. You use it once and it's done. So you can create actually a competitive advantage of this whole thing. Now, in terms of evolution, to your question is, I started the first ASRS way back in 2016. Most of you who know me would have got bored from the story of Goblage ASRS when I used to use this everywhere. We had a 350 people running distribution center in Gujarat. And we automated with the first ASRS where we had 45 people running the whole warehouse. It used to be great that point in time, 350 people down to 45, 400 pallets per hour, great throughput, guaranteed throughput, a lot of productivity, connected to the line. So it was a great solution. But then we learned a lot out of it that change management was one big issue. We could not get the overall payback because we still wanted more optimization in terms of order processing and people. Cut to 2024 last quarter where Coke implemented ASRS in Greenfield in Telangana in Hyderabad, which runs with 1 person per shift. Same or more throughput, more number of lines, 60,000 pallets, 500 to 600 pallets per hour. Has 2 Coca robos from System Logistics, which does a layer picking, makes it for the customer and directly goes to the customer. It does not do a pallet in, pallet out to the distributor or to the Coke warehouse or distribution center. That's the only distribution center inside the plant and does single touch logistics to the customer. So there is a huge evolution. There is a lot also which is happening local. There are companies who do it in Noida, in close to B1D, and there are many people who have started localizing this stuff, and it's not that difficult or complex anymore. So there is a huge evolution which has happened in that area. In terms of challenges, just to jump on the question because I think I'm taking too much of time. In terms of challenges, the biggest challenge is asset, right? Why would you expect a Coke to invest 100 crore in an ASRS? They would rather spend it on their core business of a bottling line, or an HUL will do it on a shampoo line. Why do this? That's the biggest bottleneck right now for automating high density solutions. And that's what I'm trying to change with my new role at Leap, trying to do this all for lease. So make your core, your non-core as our core, and try to run it as a service provider, as a solution provider, build the solution for you. And it, again, it could be seen in 4 ways: in feed, order processing, storage, and outfeed. Whichever you choose, it is just plug and play, which can go as an evolved journey, because there's a lot of awareness also, which is an issue. Like whatever Ranjan said was all shock to all of us, most of us, right? Ki ye bhi possible ho raha hai almost. So there is a lot of awareness which is also lacking, I feel.
No, thanks, Umesh. I think one key takeaway is don't look at from a labor cost reduction or from a overall cost reduction point of view. Look at from a holistic angle. What is the revenue impact, revenue uplift you're going to get? I think that's a fabulous thought you could. I mean, because when you do a use case, any business use case come from a cost reduction and then the final reduction from the manpower and so on and so forth. But how do you kind of think through the revenue uplift and connect that serviceability is a fabulous thought, right? Thanks, Umesh. Drawing from there, Mr. Ram, maybe HUL, Unilever as a company, I think serviceability is very important, right? I think now I actually ask the same question. What you have seen, serviceability, from a cost angle, you kind of shared, but serviceability angle, what is your experience? All this automation, we are looking from a inventory, labor, and space, that is fine, but at the end of the day, serviceability is also the key. Maybe share your thoughts and experience of these technology like ASRS, what you have seen, how this helped the serviceability. Is it real in terms of the impact of revenue what you've seen because of this, or is it a myth? Just want to get a sense from you, Ram.
Yeah, so thanks, Ganesh, and good afternoon to you all. Let me put from a Unilever, perspective, what we are looking at, and just to tell you, we move a 40 lakh ton of product, every year, which means it's not a very small amount and all. It's a big, humongous task to move these products from 28 our own factories, co-packers, around 50 of the co-packers, and around 30 to 35 of the distribution centers as well. So it's a very massive and a mammoth task. And what are we known for is the service. Can I give a service what we calculate as a day zero? Day zero means that in the morning, if let's say D-Mart or any of the supermarket or even general kirana, general trade also says that I need A, B, C, D, E, F, G, maybe 200 SKUs. In the morning, he will give the order. Am I able to service in the next 24 hours? We call it as a day zero. Not many companies would be able to do it across the world, not only in India. And that is counted. For that to happen with an accuracy level of 97, 98% is a huge, you need a huge assortment level, you need a huge segmentation level, into both in our distribution centers, at retailers, at RS, and also the new model which Umesh also alluded to it. Can we have a D2C? Now look at a model which we are trying to have, in a place almost 140 kilometers from Kanpur called Sumerpur, where we put up a new investment. And there we put up, we have got the biggest factory. I'm saying 4 factories are there. We produce detergent powder, which is Surf Excel, enzymatic, Rin, and those, And then we have soap, which is Pears, Dove, Lux, Lifebuoy, etc. We have what is called as the bar, the dishwash, which is Vim. We also have, the non-mineral bar, which is Surf Excel bar, and Rin bar, etc., and all for washing the fabric wash. And we also make some other smaller, stuff which is connected to laundry there. Now, all the 4 plants are connected to a centralized, I would say, back of the factory automated warehouse, 30,000 pallet positions. And as Umesh also, said about automated storage and retrieval system, these are dense racking solutions. And when you go slightly more deeper into it, you can do a dense racking by, a stacker crane. You can do it with mother and child, 4-way shuttles. There are many ways you can do a dense racking. When you say a dense racking, it actually, you utilize the space in a much more effective manner. This was the first time, in fact, in India, where we put a rack-clad 36-meter high automated back of the factory warehouse. And the point was that can I service it on the day zero, with all the 4 factories? This is like the 4 factories produce roughly around 6 lakh tons of product every year. And how do I measure that serviceability from a day zero, day one, And we started with something close to around 50% of the orders I could service on day zero. Then we moved to 75, 80% in the second year. Now today, as we say, I am running at around 95% or plus orders are serviced on the day zero, which means in the coming 24 hours, I'm able to give the customers, whether it is supermarket like D-Mart or Reliance or any of the general kirana shops as well, who get service, at a level of 95%. But still you have 5-6% which is service on the day one or a day two level, So now you look at, Ganesh was mentioning about the quick commerce, which is 10-minute, 15-minute of a delivery. Now just understand the back of the supply chain, how it works. It works through a dark stores, in your building, maybe you will have a dark store in your building which is service it. How do they service these dark stores? They come from a mother dark store or a mother, store. And how does the suppliers like us service these hub, Now you imagine that when you scroll through the website, you will order in this thing. You will order on the availability. It is not on that you have a much of a choice on it. Let me give you one example. Let's say if it is a 200 ml, shampoo, Tresemme or Sunsilk or Dove, you'll order that. Maybe you want 300. It may not be there, But then if that has been there, you would have ordered that as well. So for us, it is an opportunity lost to the consumer as well. So look at it that I have close to around 2,500 SKUs. Can the dark store store these SKUs? No, they work on staples. I'm saying the groceries is their main business, and all. But so it's a very challenging market to service it. Consumers are changing. The aspiration level of the consumers is also changing. And look at it from that, I service Lakme and I also service Surf Excel, enzymatic. Lakme, it costs a small lipstick will cost you 1,000 rupees and a 1 kg with Surf will cost you maybe about 150 or a 200. Both are serviced at the same interval, but both use a different model of a segmentation approach. I think this is new to India. It is coming through because you cannot have a same model ki truck mein load kar do, Lakme bhi uske saath chala jayega. No, it'll never happen. You will never accept any Lakme product or a slightly more premiumized product with a scratch on even at the carton level. You'll say, no, I paid 1,000 or 1,200 for these serums. Why should I have that product? So it needs a altogether different level of understanding, different level of segmentation, assortment level, and how do I service at the same time, service at the day zero. So these are challenges. It's not easy to crack. Some part we have cracked, some part is still some miles to go before and we are still working with our partners. Some of with the logistics partners are sitting here as well, that how do we crack this model, how do we service it when you really want the product should be there on the shelf as well.
No, thanks, Tom. I think this is really helpful. I think in terms of, I think the last point what you mentioned is also critical, right? The collaboration and coordination also very important in this space, right? Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Maybe, Dhritiman, I think, I know we spoke about the B2C, right? I just switch gears. I know you come from Ingram Micro, the B2B context, right? So what do we talk about this collaboration, and whatever we talk about in terms of coordination, how that is happening in your industry, especially given the demand is now a B2C context versus B2B, you also have a demand complexity. You need to manage inventory, you need to manage people and so on and so forth. So the question is, how do you kind of think through this, the entire collaboration and coordination aspect in the space for a B2B industry, how that works. Because the operating model is very different. Maybe would love to get your thoughts.
Thank you, Ganesh, and good afternoon, everyone. So, yeah, I represent a different industry. This is a B2B industry. That's what I do represent, and obviously the complexities are a bit different as far as the B2C industry is concerned. From a technology point of view, since the topic is related to technology in your warehousing, in our industry, now within B2B industry, the area that we actually service is related to distribution of goods, right, and the technology goods. So the cost benefit piece becomes very important when we talk about deployment of technology. So here we count every penny in this industry, okay? So before thinking about any digitization or technology adoption, we do a lot of assessment. So our ROI concept is at a different level, okay? So anything beyond 2 years becomes very difficult to justify within our global management in terms of technology adoption. So what makes it complex from an inventory point of view is because we deal with 300 plus technology OEM partners. As a technology distributor, Ingram Micro bridges the gap between a technology manufacturer and a reseller of the technology. So you will not see Ingram Micro's name in any advertisement hoarding because we work in the background. So what I mean to say here that our challenge with the inventory management is the sum total challenge of those 300 vendors. So that means the technology forecast that is being done by Dell is also our challenge. The forecasting challenge for Lenovo is also our challenge. Forecasting challenge for Apple iPhone is also our challenge. So to find a single tool which solves this 300 vendors forecasting is very difficult. Recently, what we are trying to, the way we are trying to solve this problem, we have developed a platform called Xvantage. So within Xvantage, we have created separate modules. One of the module is called X for vendors, another module called X for customers, and the third module called X for associates, that is our employees. In the X4V module, what we do is that it connects directly with the system of our vendors, that is the OEM partners. And it tries to generate the market demand and pass on this information to our vendors so that they can plan their inventory in a better way. Because in our industry, what happens, the obsolescence is pretty quick, right? I have recently bought, say, 10,000 laptops of one particular make from Lenovo. 2 months down the line, suddenly a new laptop make has come, making that inventory that you're carrying only for 2 months obsolete. Now you are left with that particular inventory. You need to find out that how do you, liquidate that inventory. So that is also we are trying to find out a solution through the Xvantage platform, wherein we come up with certain schemes, promotions, etc. for our resellers, and that way we try to solve that liquidity issue. Now here, what we are doing is that the liquidity issue that we are trying to solve is also on behalf of our OEM. Because the OEM is done with selling me 10,000 laptops. He's done. Now it is our problem. So it's not that there is a magic wand which is going to solve all these problems. We have a very large global data lake. For the last 45 years, Ingram Micro, from the time Ingram Micro is there in the business, it's actually using all those data points, and by using AI and ML, I don't want to go into the depth of those technology. It is trying to generate, it is trying to predict that how consumer behaviors are changing in terms of adopting technology, and then how you should plan your inventory, pass on that information or intelligence to our OEM partners also, so that they can also plan it better way. So our intention is to help the overall technology industry to better plan its inventory. And we want to play as a catalyst, not only to solve our problems, but in the same way, solve the problems of our OEM partners also. So that's how we are dealing.
Wow, I think it's not about it's a complete value chain, right? I think we're talking about in terms of utilizing the tech data in supporting the complete value chain of managing inventory in the warehouse. I think that's good to hear. Thanks, Rithiman. I know we talked about three things. Right? I'll go to Pratap now. So one is we talk about the challenge in data from Ranjan. We talked about collaboration complexity from Umesh, and Ram also mentioned in terms of the overall warehousing setup, right? Now one other part is product is ready, inventory is managed, labor is managed, now I have to deliver, right? Pratap, I think you said you actually have experience in the TMS and you actually manage the loadability, loading bay, et cetera, right? So I want to connect the dots. How the transport management systems or any other loading optimization or loading bay optimization, how that is done today with your experience? Because once product is available, the pick to pack time is there, I think that is reduced. Now I have to kind of bring it to the reality of deliver, right? How that is happening today, and share your experience, how the evolving TMS, what I've seen is like in a Gartner quadrant, 4 years back I've seen 6 TMS vendor, in the evolving setup, right? Now I think 16 vendors. So within the 4 years, like 16 vendor in a Gartner, this is only Gartner, right? I mean, I have another 50 plus TMS vendor. I'll come to the WMS question later to someone else, but so Gartner saying 16, and there are like another 50 plus companies coming in a TMS setup. Maybe, yeah, that's a complexity which I've seen in many of the clients as well. So question is how the TMS connect the dots, how that helps in terms of after the pick to pack time is optimized, how that helps. Maybe share your experience.
See, if we are talking about TMS, good afternoon everyone. Thank you, Ganeshji. If we're talking about TMS, as on today, a lot of service providers are available in the market. And if we're talking about everybody want to opt the TMS technology as well. Now, thing is that means whenever we are optimizing, so if we're talking about numbers, if we're talking about adaptability, so if we're talking about adaptability, that is not in 100% in a full. If you're talking about means I am using this change management through automation system, through system retrieval, or maybe real-time data we are talking about, I am doing them from last 8 years in different organization. Now if we're talking about numbers, in 2016, these numbers I started through ideas in the TMS happenings. So that numbers was in first year not more than 30-35%. Then again means in next year that is just 40-45%. The third year or fourth year if we're talking about 2018 or we were talking about 22. So still we achieved a number not more than 80-85%. The reason behind of that, as on today we are talking about, the numbers are not, we are not able to achieve that 90%, more than that. Why? If we're talking about as a Jindal, or maybe if we're talking about the previous companies, or if we're talking about that volumetric handle companies, where they are associated with the n number of vendors. If we're talking about n number of vendors, that vendors are not having properly their assets. They are also on the services through market-owned vehicles. Now the things are not in properly in command, if we're talking about. So whenever we are going to see, when I am talking about my vehicle, so that is going to be 100%ly on. But if we're talking about market-owned vehicle, I need to push the GPS, I need to I need to increase my cost. And if that is active, so that again, this is a challenge. As on today means we are placing the GPS on our that loading bay through port side, through our warehousing side as well. But still the productivity, we are not able to achieve that 90%. Now I'm coming to directly to warehousing, loading optimization. So this is integration with the TMS, PMS, and the WMS. So with linking of that means particular when the vehicle is going to be arrived. So if we're talking about the dispatch sales system. So when the indent is going to be created, that is directly authorization to the respective transporter as per contracts. And after that, they will indent the lead trip will be start from the once the trip is going to be created. So we are having a visibility that particular vehicle is going to be arrived on particular way or particular the warehouse. Now we'll check कि ठीक है, this loading, he will upload the document, then he will means maybe that that is going to complete the another trip. Once that will be visible at the our factory or maybe the plant or maybe our warehousing nearby, so that will be triggered to our warehouse manager that particular warehouse is nearby to our system. We need to enter in those vehicles. Those vehicles, once that will be entered, now that again question that they are single loading and multiple loading. So we are having that type of systems where that system is going to be visible if suppose particular loading bay is empty, so that can go for another loading bay. So that system work in that way.
Yeah, got it. No, I think this is helpful, Pratap. So, so I think drawing from your thought, right? Maybe Ram, actually, I'll go with you, right? Because I touched upon the TMS part. So suddenly, I think the question came to my mind is like the WMS and WCES or WES, right? Because that is also very important. I mean, we talk about automation part, but there is a software services part, right? That is also helpful in terms of your space, inventory, and also the labor part, right? So I know you embarked the journey on WMS. Maybe would love to understand from you. One is like we are setting the automation very clear. We're connecting the dots with the logistics. We're connecting the dot with the collaboration. That is all fine. But how do we kind of make the transaction effective, the control system effective, execution effective? How that is helpful in terms of the overall inventory, space, and manpower? Maybe share your experience and thoughts from a Unilever.
Sure. So look at that. Again, I'll go back to that model of automated storage and retrieval system. Now, when you move the product in this back of the factory distribution center, you need controls. And why controls is so important? That financial control, which means you should be knowing what is in each of those pigeonholes or shelf. I should be knowing what product is there, what is the life of the product, and for how long the product is lying there. Because then only you can maintain, whether FIFO or LIFO, whatever principles you work on, it is extremely critical that you should know what is lying on it. Now, in a dense racking system, these variables you can only know if the product is numbered when it goes inside, whether you use stacker crane or mother and child. So you have to use what is called as a warehouse control system to operate that dense racking system, whether it's mother and child or a stacker crane, so that the stacker crane picks it up and places on a shelf and an appropriate shelf, and it also updates the software. Okay, this material I had picked it up, maybe the barcode is so much, and it is updated in your inventory when you see it on the screen that this is now full. Color has got also the change now into that. Now, so this is warehouse control system. When you go for a, let's say now, how do I load the truck? Truck has come in, or how do I start the shipment? So for that, let's say I have got a 200 line item order from a DMart. Okay, I'm now DMart in Lucknow I need to service. It's a 200 line item order I need to service, maybe 1 kg of a surf, 2 cartons, this product, one carton. One carton would be having, let's say, around between 24 pieces, or depending on the size of the product, it can be 48 pieces and all. So it has got now this 200 line items. Now these kind of an orders, maybe you receive in a day 1,000 or 1,200 orders. As I said, at day 0, you need to service, which means that these orders, somewhere the orders has to go into a kind of a system which orders the crane, okay, take the shipment out to the docks where you have a staging area. Either it is a, let's say, the full pallet which is going, or if it is a assortment needs to be done, whether you want to make a rainbow pallet, then it goes into a different setup where the picking has to happen, and right kind of a picking has to happen, which means you need to read the barcode on it and then collate, so that when you put the staging, let's say, before the truck needs to be loaded, you should be having that product that what is going to be loaded. Also in our system, as Unilever, I also make detergent, I also make foods, and I also make some of the other products. So it cannot be that, the soap brand or a Lakme is lying at the below, and you put in, all the detergent on the top of it. This will get squeezed out, very easily. So you need to also look at that, okay, when the truck is moving from, let's say, from a place, Sumerpur to Lucknow, and it goes to 3 vendors, it should not happen that the vendor one is a furthers away, you cannot, I'm saying it has to be loaded in such a way that when you reach vendor one, the material is lying at the door only, so that you take it out and it moves. Otherwise, then you need to do full unloading, and then the control is also lost. So these are very critical items for how do I shelf in the, especially in the truck, And as Umesh was saying, we do partly, palletize, but we also do, CLDs kind of a packed, into that, because for a loading to be done, yes, we can do loading, but then the facility at the other end has to be there where they should be able to unload it in a palletized manner. Otherwise, which is not there. If you look at 70-80% of the Kirana shop, they will take it, you have those, people who will take on their head and then take it inside. Now to have all these things automated, you need what is called as a warehouse management system, or WMS. So WMS speaks to WCS saying that I need these stocks. It says these stocks are lying in shelf, there's 22nd, there's that and all. It will draw out the shelf, which is full pallet, to the staging area. It will also give a command, okay, this has to go to the picking. From picker, the picks it and gives a command there, okay, I have picked now all the items. All the items comes to the staging area, and then the loading happens. The loading sequence will also get decided, which is the vendor one. Let's say you have 3 invoices, you are loading it into a 40-foot container, and vendor who is going to be serviced. Also, you also look at, am I loading the, the material which can be crushed below, or am I loading it on the top? If it is a non-palletized kind of a loading. So all these variables, WMS, you can define it, right. You can do it, and we are doing. Now, where is the challenge coming from? Let me put it that, it looks as if the love story is going very fast, it doesn't happen, the way it is.
Right.
The challenge comes in because these are all set of the commands which is already predetermined and defined in the system. Can I change those things? Yes, you can change, but you need a higher level or an intelligent person or that kind of a skill set to do so. You will not find it in every DC. That's point number 1. Second point is that, can I have a permission to change everything? If you do so, you will screw up the complete system. So this is a system which is having less of a flexibility. Imagine that if this job is done by 10 people, etc., and they do loader and all, that's the best form. But then the productivity suffers because it's a repetitive job. And so the disadvantage here in the system is that it's a very, I would say, not very flexible system, but then it follows a process. And we need, because as you move from a small system to these kind of a massive or a big systems where you service almost 1,500 invoices daily, and you have in each DC is at least 150 trucks going in and out, and also having inward, from other DCs and other factories coming in. Without automation, you just cannot survive in it. You will lose control on it. You will not know whether the product is fit for the market or not. Because in this, the model which I have put in, and by the way, this is unique in the world. We have researched, this is an online system of having the material transported from a factory, producing 1 minute it reaches the warehouse. The quality control also happens in the warehouse, which means I have a check, okay, I will quarantine that, okay, this in this shelf, number of shelf, I will put the color as okay, as an amber, that I will not do the shipment from this till it is, let's say, micro cleared, or maybe the quality says that, or I have checked the quality, etc. and all. So this is the first of its kind in the world, which is unique in terms of 4 factories feeding online to the DC, and DC doing a secondary sale or a D2C, which means direct to the customers,
Right.
you know, like DMart. It's a
Right.
very unique model, very challenging, I can tell you.
Yeah.
And we still not perfected it. We are still looking at some of the answers, because our sales don't happen like, okay, every day I'm going
Yeah.
to sell.
Volatility is huge. and
Yes.
then- yeah. No, I understand.
So it's still in the very I would say a complex stage. Sales happen on last 2 days of the month.
Yeah.
या जिस दिन salary आती है उस दिन sale होगा
the night
आपका.
cow happens, you know.
हाँ,
always
so it's a very complex, you know, the Indian buying system
Yeah.
is not very uniform on all the 30 days.
No, then there are failure mode, right? Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I think I'll also draw in some thoughts from Umesh. See, there are failure modes. I know from automation point of view, there are failure modes. Even ASRS point of view, from a WMS point of view, because today if you see, I tell you as a consultant, what is the biggest problem I face, right? Some client will come and ask, right? Hey, I have a planning problem. I have a transportation problem. I have a warehousing problem. I have an exim problem. You handle exim. Can I have one vendor to solve all? No. We don't have any one particular full IT systems. We have an advanced planning system come from XYZ, TMS come from ABC, and then WMS come from, Element, right? So I think we'll have I cannot name the vendor, maybe 1 or 2 vendor who kind of have all the platforms ready to kind of cover everything, but I think the quality I'm not guaranteed, right? But this complexity is there at least from a system, forget about the automation element, from a system integration point of view, right? So same thing, the failure mode, Umesh. What are the failure mode you have seen? Because one is automation part, connecting the automation part to this systems part, the system planning part, right? And then collaboration that with your other external providers and so on and so forth. Maybe share your thoughts. Later I'll come to Ranjan on a security part, because there is also the follow-up question, right? So yes, Umesh.
two major inputs basis my experience. Number one, when you're automating, don't partly automate. That's the biggest problem we Indians in terms of our mentality get into. अब ये थोड़ा कर लेते हैं, इसको we'll do it phase 2. Phase 2 is our favorite. We'll always try to do that. Always start with how exactly do you automate the whole piece? The whole
So
change
no phase, you're saying no phase-wise. Do it like
there's no phase 1, there's no phase 2.
Okay.
Either you automate or you choose not to automate.
And there is a theory of intelligent automation, choose something, automate, and then.
ये सब गया. So what exactly you are doing, like what he was saying was, you need people to embrace the change of how to look at an automatic warehouse. How do you plan the trucks? How do you plan the retrieval? How many orders per wave?
Right.
20 orders retrieval per wave or 7 orders? Will you be able to back it up with the trucks in the yard? So on and so forth. That planning is something which you'll have to change for a shipping guy who just knows to dispatch डंडा मार के. वो यही कर रहा है 20 साल से. आप अभी उसको एक ऑटोमेटेड मशीन लाके दे रहे हो और बोल रहे हो कि प्लान कर यार, ये शिफ्ट प्लान कर, इसमें इतनी गाड़ी आएगी, 1 वे कितनी जाएगी, 2 वे कितनी जाएगी, लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस कितनी जाएगी, लोकल डिलीवरी कितनी जाएगी. All of that you want him to plan, which he can't. That's not what he's used to. You need a separate skill set. So by the time you train, he embraces the change, you have lost the bus already. So the best is you automate fully. You start with the full goalpost. When I was doing this project in Telangana automation, they told me truck load करेगा dock पे, फिर driver उतर के जाएगा एक booth में जहाँ पे e-way bill invoice print होगा वहाँ से लेगा. I said, why?
Okay.
You do it on the pillar at the height of the driver. You should not even step down.
Right.
Everything is automated, right? So the moment you have loaded through a loading dock, the loading dock receives a signal to unlock the truck and release the truck from the dock. The moment he goes there, by that time, there should be 3 printouts there. He should just pull it and get lost out of the plant. Why will he even wait there? So you start always with the end goal of full automation. That's my input number 1. Number two, super important, what he was trying to touch upon. The only solution to the game of scale logistics for the future is standardization. That's the only solution how you can beat it. There is no other solution. The equipment on which you need to move your material should start from your vendor or probably your vendor's vendor. That same equipment has to come, let's say it's a pallet. The same raw material has to come in that pallet. You have to feed that to your line, produce that. The same has to go into your warehouse. The same has to go into your truck. The same has to get unloaded by your distributor, and the same has to finally get returned back to you. It's the whole ecosystem of your vendor to your customer, which has to be super standardized. That's the only way how we solve the puzzle and we get to the developed markets, how they get a 8% cost to the GDP. Because it's all pooled. It's all pooled. And it's all the same standard. And again, palletization can never happen. Transport palletization can never happen where you decide, aaj ye truck manual ja rahi hai, let's try and palletize. You will never be able to do it.
Got it.
You will always have a 25% throughput loss. Palletization is a science where you work backwards. If you choose a 1 meter by 1.2 meter pallet, how many bottles per case, how many cases per layer, how many layers per pallet is what you need to design. You will have to change the design probably. The same design of a Nestle or an HUL or a Coke or a Pepsi cannot sit in that pallet exactly giving you that loadability. It will never happen.
Okay.
So that is something which people miss out. And the moment you standardize, you get scale, and you are able to solve all of this. Software will complement, like he said, WMS, he said TMS. That is very easy nowadays.
Yeah, yes.
TMSs are on cloud.
Yeah.
We don't let the transporter invoice us.
Yeah.
We invoice ourselves.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the transporter logs in and says, okay, and we pay him.
Right.
Why
Got
to
it.
invoice bhi mat raise kar. That
Right.
itself takes so much of time. EPOD bhi mat karna. That is also automatic in my system.
Visibility and transparency is
So
very-
that has reached to a level where it is peak already.
Very
The
nice.
problem is this physical flow. How do you marry with the information flow in the system and take use of it? Sorry, I was resisting since long.
No, thanks, Mish. Maybe paucity of time, Ranjan, Pratap, and Ridhiman, I'll have a rapid fire 60-second question so that, Ranjan, I think you heard all of this, right? Maybe a 60-second level I want to hear from you. Security, should I worry or not from the warehousing point of view? Or, I mean, I know data security from a cloud point of view, we have automation element, we have a system which is like planning element. So, should I worry? If I have to worry, what should I do? Just quick thoughts here.
So should I worry? Yes, I should be worried. Should I be confident about being able to solve it? Yes, I should be confident about being able to solve it. Because today it's a heterogeneous system landscape that we are working on. You don't work on one single platform. You rightly said, you work with one WMS vendor, you work with another TMS vendor, then and each of them could be different, sitting on different clouds, different platforms, different technologies they would be using, all of them. And you share a lot of the data, and mind you, all of that data is not encrypted. So the way how you talk to all of, because the moment you start bringing in encryption into each of your interfaces, you are going to increase the lead time, and your system is bound to fail. And your process is bound to fail. You're going to increase your process time. So I think what is important is to understand how you're integrating with these ecosystem partners. What are the kind of measures, the security measures that they are taking? What is the kind of audit mechanisms that you have to be able to make sure that you are continuously upgrading, patching your systems, patching your operating systems, your databases, all of it. How you are taking care of the overall landscape at a continuous improvement process, that is the key, because otherwise you will risk, and you will, one small risk, one small opening hole that you provide to anybody, and I think your entire landscape can go for a risk. So obviously you should be worried, but then you should be cautious more than being worried, and take the right steps to be able to solve this problem early. Start thinking early, as I said earlier as well.
I would take landscape architecture very clearly to kind of connect the dots for the security. I think makes sense. Ridhiman and Pratap, one quick question to both of you, right? One is like, I always wonder, you industry like you will also get the government projects, right? I think at least from the B2B, B2C point of view, B2B is a government project, right? How do you, because the space is not easy, right? You cannot get it. I mean, you can't predict them also. There is a volatility of government projects and stuff. So how do you manage that today? I mean, from your experience.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and you are actually bang on. So that becomes a major challenge in this particular industry. So what happens is my, say, product manager or the sales manager goes to a potential customer, and they start talking about a deal. Deal means a government project. Now there are other competitors are also discussing. Now from there, I actually get a call saying that Ridwan, we are talking with this guy, and there is some, 50,000 laptops that we need to deliver to 5,000 schools. So can I give a okay? Now I don't have space available at that point of time when he's asking that question. So that is something that becomes a regular challenge for us. And at the same time, the organization every year gives us a target that compared to your last year, this year your per square feet contribution to revenue has to improve by 15-20%. So that means you need to optimize your space utilization also. So one of the solution that we could able to find out, which is still work in progress, is that for this kind of requirements, we go to the market and then pay as per use. You know.
Okay.
So I have set expectation clear with my salesperson that this is the rate. So when you are discussing about the deal, keep in mind that this rate you need to account for, in the deal that you are making. So there is no ready-made solution to that, because as I said, in our industry, again, the obsolescence is high. So we have to account for around 15 to 20% of space which is getting waste regularly because of obsolescence. And after that, the space requirement has to be planned. Yeah.
Got it, thanks. Pratap, I think one question, when we were discussing, you talked about this telescopic conveyor also you actually gone through. When we talk about all this automation, how that differs, what is your experience there? I mean, there are two different thoughts, right? One is like completely fully automated setup. Other is go with a part-wise intelligent setup, right? Intelligent automation setup. So maybe share your thoughts. With that, we can probably end and open the forum for the questions. Yeah.
See, as a automation, Umesh was telling, this is 100% is required.
Right.
So according to, if we talk about what product we are choosing and what technology partner we are choosing,
Right.
so this is depend on that particular area only. So that a small automation is also possible. See, suppose if we're talking about, we've done a lot of change from the GRN acceptance, GRN automation, directly production to directly to warehouse. So that is a minor change where that 100% accuracy visibility came. Then after that, if you are talking about ASRS edge, because this is going to be happen according to customer demand only, because we need to serve two. So now again means ASRS is required for that particular product model. Is it because if we're talking about that, what is can we do a palletized system also? If we are going to do palletized, each customer is going to accept. In my case study means because we were able to that big that retail clients at least 6 months we were able to convince them, because we can convert it into that small cartons to in a palletized systems. So when that was onboarded, if we're talking about ROI and that space utilization, approximately if we are talking about 45% we converted into ASRS, and then 30-35% that we converted into palletized systems. Okay. So where we were able to reduce that 35%. Now we're talking about different, because I deal in different type of that products. I deal in that paper, I deal in yarn, and I deal the cotton, I deal in the towel and sittings as well. Now we're talking about that we plan to fix a conveyor in yarn that was not, that productivity we are unable to pull out, because that if we're talking about that total turnaround was increasing, and then we placed into that towel that was a fix that we are able to pull out the ROI, that was reduced. So this is, it depends upon what automation, what technology you are going to be onboarded, and another in last means that what is skill set, means is your manpower, is your management is ready to accept the changes, are they going to adopt this technology? So this is a man.
Got it. Thanks, Pratap.
Thank you.
Maybe for a paucity of time, I'll open the forum for 3 questions. Keep it sharp and precise. We probably can actually connect with the panel experts in the lunch also. Sorry, I know I already have a 5-6 hands, but We'll keep like a 3 questions, sorry, yeah. Yes, please.
Hi, this is Rajiv Kumar from Skechers. I take care of warehouse operation for Skechers. Just one question here. We have seen in the past, how the geopolitical situation has risen. Couple of years back, we were struggling with COVID, and after that, Russia-Ukraine war, and now the US tariff, right? Now, under such circumstances, if we are investing something and investing heavily, basically, and the demand fluctuates, so ROI goes for a toss. So what is the best way to basically balance the investment and the ROI? That is something which I want to understand. Any perspective on that?
Maybe any of you, Ram or Mesh, please.
Invest as early as possible. Don't wait for COVID to happen. Don't wait for Suez Canal to happen. Right. We implemented the same ASR as I was talking in 2016. COVID happened, and it was very difficult to find people. And we were into essentials because we supply water as well. So we collaborated with HUL on some trucks during that point in time. And this was the only warehouse which was able to run, because all you needed was electricity. And it was able to insulate you from a lot of other problems. So you should choose, like going paperless, do it as soon as possible. No payback, fine. It will give you good payback in the long run. Doing RPA. So it really depends on your problem statement and the technology which is available. So you should choose that and try to chew it as early as possible. Of course, ASRS and all will be a long-term investment, will be more strategic that way.
Correct.
And I'm sure if you decide for a 3-4 years payback, it goes 4 and 5, it should be fine, because by nature it is very strategic. You're trying to stay in that market, you're trying to do something drastically different. To do the first ASRS, I had to eliminate 9 warehouses.
Wow, okay.
I got rid of 9 warehouses, 9 CFAs, 3 states. Uske baad, it made sense to do 1 ASRS. So it's not easy.
Not easy journey.
It's very strategic.
No, just to add a spice, we had a global disruption events in the last 20 years, 50 events. In the last 5 years, 23 events. So he's saying, more to come, and 4.5% EBITDA every year getting affected only because of the global disruptions. So the 5% cost reduction is no more applicable. You have to think through 10-15%. Yeah, thanks. Second question, yes.
If we talk about in numbers, if you are talking about Red Sea, things are going to be happen from last 3 or 4 years. So the productivity, the sale figure, sale numbers if we are talking about. If we are talking about Agim also, the data reduced 2 to 3% only, whatever we were proposing in this financial year, 24-25. So the things are going to be happen. Export is also going to be happen. Thank you.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So good afternoon. My question is to open to all panelists. I am Prashant from Hindalco Industries, Aditya Birla Group, with my 2 colleagues. So I have a basic question, because we have installed ASRS in one of our plant, and this is the first time in the history of Hindalco. So for a manufacturing unit, how should be the ASRS capacity vis-a-vis the production capacity? Because market is dynamic. So design-wise, it is a basic question, maybe of one-line answer, but see, the production capacity is of 100, then ASRS should be of...
The ratio, you want to see the ratio.
Yeah.
Yes, Ram, maybe Ram or
Okay.
Umesh.
So let me add to your question. What we do in HUL, I'll just explain it to you. We calculate what is called as the days on hand, which means that 1 day production is how many tons? Let's say it is 100 tons, As a norm, what is that norm you want to keep in the organization? Whether it is 4-day norm, 5-day norm, or a 6-day norm, Depending on the industry where it is. FMCG, the norm is around 5 days, So you keep 5 days as a days on hand in your back of the factory warehouse. I'm talking back of the factory warehouse.
Not the main.
Some people may call it as BSR,
Yes.
Different names. This is not the distribution center. Distribution center will need an assortment to happen. So there, the days on hand might be different because it depends upon which consumer segment you are feeding from the distribution segment. Now, for your company, like, how many SKUs you produce, that will determine whether you are producing daily or not. So we in the FMCG industry, we have what is called as DBNR, days before next run. Because freshness of a product is extremely important. So it is not that I need in a 1 month, I need only 10 tons, so I will produce in a single day and keep 10 tons. No. Then the freshness of the product is lost, and maybe the sales happen in a 1 month, the people will not buy it and as well. So people want to buy any of the product, not only, eatables or staples, etc. Even any like face cream, I'm taking skin care, hair care, face care, product which is closer to the production date. The more away you are from the date of the production, people tend to, dekhte hain, sochenge, you are not delighted as a customer to get that and all. So from that angle, I'm saying we produce what is called as a DBNR, means we produce what is required in a week. We don't produce everything what is required in a month. And then we stagger the production also so that the freshness of the product is maintained. Now this I'm saying it from an FMCG, angle.
Thanks.
But industry would have different in different sectors.
Thanks, Ram. One more question, and then we.
Should be 25%, 30%.
No,
125, 130.
so that's what I'm saying. If your daily production is 100 tons, for an FMCG, I keep my storage as 500, or 600 ton, FG. I will keep it because my assortment is very high. I don't make all the SKUs daily. I make around, maybe in that factory I have 40 SKUs. I may make it in a week. So आज मैं SKU जो बना रहा हूँ, I need to keep it for 4-5 days so that to service the market.
The mix is also.
The mix is important.
Yes.
If I'm making only 5 SKUs, maybe 2 days is enough,
Yeah.
And inventory carrying is cash.
Yes.
Why do you want to block your cash into the inventory? I'm saying if you can have a system where you produce and it goes to, that's the best. Because everything what it goes in the market is converted into cash. And every organization, inventory, there is a cost of carrying inventory as well. So best part, no inventory if you can do it. If you want to keep inventory, then you decide what is your norm. Depends on the MISC and the SKU what you are making it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. No, we had a food for thought. Let's actually have a real food now. The last question, one last question, then we can break for lunch. Then we have to come back by 2. We have 2 more sessions to go. Yes, sir. Get the mic. Stay connected with the expert in the lunch and.
So hi everyone, my name is Jitendra. I'm from Ingram Micro. So I have a question for the DICE is when we are talking about all these ROIs and time periods, days, everything, how we are putting change management as a concept to those ROIs? Because most of the project we have seen does not see the light because of a loose or ineffective change management to the projects.
Any thoughts?
So I think ROI should not include the period for change management. So let's say if you're going live in Jan 2025, you cannot consider the ROI to come from June 2025. I think that's not how it should work. Change management is something which you should work on day 0. When, for example, again, sticking to ASRS, if you start a manual ASRS conversion to a manual warehouse conversion to an ASRS warehouse, the team should be decided on day 0. The team, the shipping manager, the planner, the coordinator with transport, all of that structure should be on day 0. While implementation, they should get trained. They should be, you should ensure that they are ready to embrace the change. And you go live on Jan, you do a VSU, what we call as a vertical startup, where you do a proper run through the smoke test when you sign off with your vendor. This is the team which runs the whole warehouse. And you not only validate and do the smoke test for the speed of the ASRS, but also for the team who can run the ASRS. And then sign it off, and then payback should start from day 0.
Yeah, be it $1 million, $1 billion, we don't start any project without the people. So people is important, as you mentioned, the barriers are important, right? Without actually, you don't even start the project. Rather, fix the team, fix the barriers, and then start it. Otherwise, I think it's a clear failure. Thanks panel. Thanks for the wonderful thoughts. Thanks to the audience.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.